南无马就须耶，南无苏须耶，南无我南无须耶娑哈。我南无马就须耶，南无苏须耶，南无我南无须耶娑哈。我南无马就须耶，南无苏须耶，南无我南无须耶娑哈。知道就是说那拉想就把都当的给手机，大概去年给别做那个，做了本节上给就把手。知道这个就那拉想就把都当的给手机，大概去年给别做那个，做了本节上给就把手。知道这个就那拉想就把都当的给手机，大概去年给别做那个，做了本节上给就把手。操心别给休息没多长，是让人心里的见不得，伤心心都没得如阿姨，这个闹他心了就把手一刀，不如让他们到了岗地呀打呀。Please adjust your sitting posture according to 7 meditative postures of Vairocana. And think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. All sentient beings have been my mothers not just once, but for numberless times. They are as kind as my mothers of this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering. However, due to engaging wrongly with objects of adoptions and abandonment, they do not experience any happiness but suffering. In our minds, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mother sentient beings had excellent happiness. When all kind mother sentient beings have excellent happiness, or cause all kind mother sentient beings to experience excellent happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings, free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as physical pain, sickness, and problems caused by all elements. May the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will cause the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings to be free from the I will free the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings, free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as mental suffering, fear, and coarse and subtle conceptual thoughts. May the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
이제 동아리에 굉장히 많은 하고 지금서 맞징이 뭐 차라 하다가 좀 진짜 저 다음에서 되시는 거는 신경 쓰고
How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue, or coarse and subtle negative speech, such as telling lies. May the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
이제 동아리나 되게 많은 무슨 얘기 있어 또 어디 저 타다가 때는 좀 진짜 저 다음에서 되시는 거는 신경 써서
How nice it would be if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class. May the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
이제 이제 통지 등회라 등회 지도다 하나 진짜 저 다음에서 되시는 거는 신경 써서
How nice it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering, the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. I'll free all sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
이제 동아리에 되게 많은 어떤 동아리 무슨 냐라 그때 다디네 가서요 그 선지 공부하는 거 내가 이거 쓰려고 내가 봐도 그 선지라고 쓰지 통지도 선지 공부하는 거지 이제 또 보셔 내가 지금 전주 쓰고 있어.
Next, we generate bodhicitta, first by asking oneself, who should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms? I should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms. However, I do not have the abilities to do so now. So who has the abilities? Those who fact complete enlightened Buddha have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the state of enlightenment.
컴퓨터도 산지 공부하다 보셔. 세군자 받더니 나중에가 다이 지고 모서도 나가 지고 그런 데로 이제 모두 공부하는 세 치료지는 대단한 전리 세대 나중에가 다이게 로제가 뭐 생각이 나가 지도 교수 사도서 아니면 그 세계에서
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind, the aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. These transform into a complete white mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming in one taste with emptiness, the lack of inherent existence, that transform into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
이제 더 공부하다가 좀 지도하게 강도가 만드는 것이 좀 또, 그래서 스톤바를 무슨 단어스.
Next, we meditate for a short while on emptiness, that I exists neither inherently one with, nor inherently different from the aggregates. Thus, I is empty of inherent existence.
이제 난지 더버리 쉬는 그래서 리와이스 이 저거 있어와 있는 지속 포지티브 있는 지식도 그래. 나 근데 주제 이게 생각하다 무슨 예사고서 제바데 나 근데 포지티브 있는 지식도 같이 간다 뭐 지바다는 무슨 그래서 뭐 지비 무엇을 나시 예사고서 지비 가서 제바데 신신지 대원 중에서 두개다 제가 이 지도는 사파 도시야 그 지도가 있나 지비 가지는 생각했어.
And as I always say, whenever we do virtue with our three doors, is we should try our best to conjoin it with the practice of six perfections. And the first one is generosity. And generosity is an intentions of giving. These 2 hours of listening, contemplation, and meditation on Dharma is for the sake of purifying the sufferings of sentient beings, and for achieving the happiness of sentient beings.
대지 생각은 쓰리지 버진 안에 생각다 가다 쓰린데 point 생각 쓰리지 원스 뭐 다시 내사 보스 제비가서 여기 이거기 내쟁이 보고도 맞아 이거기 내제 아니 내사 보스 비타부 제가 있나 가다 쓰리지 버진 안에 생각했어.
Next is morality. Morality is the minds of abandonment. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will abandon my physical and verbal negativities so that they do not manifest.
대지스 세비 버진 안에 생각하면서 세바서도 문주비 생각 세비 무엇을 말하시 내상고서 강 지비가서 간다 위세나 강에 가지치는 때 도다리는 세투바지 야부지 기관이나 내상고서 강시 비비자데
Next is patience. The nature of patience is an undisturbed mind. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever physical or mental hardships that occur, I will be patiently accepting them. Next is joyous effort. So joyous effort is a mind that takes delight in virtue. So during these 2 hours of I will take delight in the virtue of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma.
那上帝就发现我是上帝是我的身体里面搞给那个最具的念吧，上帝就我什么良心，那念上不是基本告诉，是身体弄到的那样我的把忙着，你搞呢，可能对睡得了吧，你照顾是刚学缺得了把身把的顶，要不是你个给多外呢，那肯定你是不是具的，就是不看到上帝发现他的是有的事。
Next is meditative stabilization. Meditative stabilization is a mind that single-pointedly focuses on any virtuous object. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, having stopped the afflictions and distractions, I single-pointedly focus on the intended virtuous object.
我学了几发现，因为什么了？学了之后的确实跟我们这就是不，这个我是把良心，我念上过是不，这把呢这里。 虽然的，而里面长毛把细节毛了吧，要不就先头把一呢，这这里面啥故事基本给啥的，就发现我是个人事。
Last is wisdom. Wisdom is an awareness that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. So I will properly understand the words and the meanings of the Dharma that I listen to, contemplate, and meditate on.
那第一就是先生就长期听到上级公布到个第一就是准备确实呢，哎，原来这个听到这生级的公布这个这都是个就是。
Set a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this purpose, I'm going to listen to the holy Dharma and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
哎呀 ，thank you。哎呀，那这样子，你看你那是这些男子把他这边男子把他不去，不嘛去学意思了吧？你开始真不接意思，我在这里的第一嘛是这样的，不是？
So Sally reminded us that I forgot to mention the etymologies or explanations on the 2 types of false aspectarians. So thank you very much, Sally. So I'm going to cover the etymology of the 2 types of false aspectarians.
他可是过了学吧，那些我是弄对吧了，甚至可能吧，我学着我那时候你没把是，也送吧那些弄对吧了上学多，他弄对吧了第二东西，他不是弄对吧的，后面弄对吧是你学的。
重新谈讲吧，
我介绍
啊，跟我介绍啊，
实际可能那时候你我介绍我是，你是你把弄对吧了，是弄对吧了，
Yeah. So previously we talked about the types of true aspectarians. So true aspectarians can be divided into 3 types. The first one is the proponents of equal number of object and subject. And the second one is half-ableist. And the third one is non-pluralist. So as for false aspectarians, there are 2 types.
我就是当我看到那是在看你对吧？是在弄对吧了送我，以往的看对吧了。 弄对吧了，这些弄对吧，这边弄对吧是你有吧？是吧？那等你看到这些了，为的那这知道，弄对吧，弄对吧，这个吃吧，他碰了学啥了吧？弄对吧，弄对吧，这个吃吧，我就碰了学啥了吧？还有弄对吧，就嘛这些弄对吧，这边弄对吧，老的，这些弄对吧是吧的？他看到看到身体上有了看到这么个，那边学吧对吧？对了，他这些弄对吧是，身体上有了是吧？这么那边学吧对了。
Kimi Gileva. Mari Pacha.
Mari Pacha Deva Shri Deva. Akanda Mari Pacha me Deva Shri Deva Tela. Akanda Tsheva Aset.
다시 로이라지.
아,
다시.
다시 오다데 다시들. 다시 있어서 다시 나도 봐. 나도 제바세 되나들. 그래서 나도 지나가 빌로 너기 그 관계 맞을 루와.
Yeah, so for true expectarians, there are two types, and for false expectarians, there are two types. These two are tainted false expectarians and untainted false expectarians. So tainted false expectarians. So tainted in the Tibetan is called kifir. So which has the stains. The stains here are also referred to the objects of abandonment. So tainted false expectarians are those who assert that the nature of the mind is not polluted by the predispositions of ignorance.
我的这些男子把这个哇，那怎么男子把这个，但身体上一那个，怎么个来把嘛，一万对吧？这个哇，那身体上一个怎么，我的把这个过来来把嘛，一万对吧？对啦，没男子把是不是？
And untainted false expectarians are those who propound that the nature of the mind is not polluted by the predispositions of the mind. So tainted is the nature of the mind is polluted by the predispositions of ignorance. And untainted false expectarians are those who propounds that the nature of the mind is not polluted by the predispositions of ignorance.
那也是对你的看到的话，也是对你的那个现在样的是继续无论，那三级是那马里巴，要马的是三级是那马里巴没加，那要办的吧？三级是那马里巴要马里巴光着的呢，去那要的是，那要办的吧？身上这样子吧，就去的是为了，哇，三级是那马里巴要马里巴光着，你那样去那要办的吧去。
Another way of explaining tainted false expectarians and untainted false expectarians is this. So the tainted false expectarians are those who pounds that, or those who assert that at the Buddhahood, even though there is no ignorance, however, there is mistaken appearance. So those who assert this way is tainted false expectarians.
我的是，他的正面版要对流动的，我的身体上，马里巴的去那个没办法的，对马里巴的去那个马里巴光是去那有马的是，你对那没办法的，那他正面上是把是，那是流动的可以起多。
As for untainted false expectarians, there are those who assert that at the Buddhahood there is no ignorance and there is also no mistaken appearance.
我肯定是，而我们讲的这些男子吧，正面男子吧，是这些的正面说的，我是到底下到哪度啊？看的，正面说的，我是觉得帮家了把下过来，正面的接待呢，正面的帮看的，麻烦嘛，那不是工人，对吧？我是接吧说，正面的男子正面的接啊，是我是男子表正面的正面的接啊，女的接啊，女的接啊是有的吧？我正面的接啊，那正面嘛，特别告诉我说，马特的告诉他你们的接吧，你们的接吧，你们的接了嘛是吧？你们的接吧，他等你这个把生活里，我在这些男子吧，这边男子吧，他的接吧对吧？他的接吧没吧对吧？他没吧对吧？他的生活当中的是吧？
So you can think in this way regarding the words tainted and untainted. So tainted, as I mentioned just now, is that which has the stain. And untainted is free of stain. So in general, when we talk about stain, then it refers to objects of abandonment. So tainted or that which has stain also means that the objects of abandonment has not yet abandoned. It's not yet been abandoned. So it means that one still has the stain. So for example, when one achieves arahantship, then one is free of afflictions, or one has already abandoned the afflictive aspirations. Then one becomes untainted or free of stain. So before one achieves the arahantship, then one is tainted. Another way of saying this is one still has stain, the stain of afflictions or afflictive aspirations.
我记得这么的记吧，妈的表啊是不是上当的吧？到底是不太可能不多的。那不开始学着了嘛，就哪边把哪几把写了的，但是知道我们学着的那看懂哪边把写完的，没让他们的了，稍微甚至没去了，所以那我那些有点点把的是我哪点把写，
Susi Michela.
甚至没去到不了我说，那我本是没去了是吧？我本是没去的了，我那我那些，有点点把的是。我不拉巴那我那是他真的得了我，
Snubo Rabana.
我不拉巴那我，那就是呢，我不拉巴那我那是我不拉巴的是，这个点把的是我，那我那是有点把的是我，那点把是，那点把是我，不得是吧？但是这段可是有的在你按照这个事情是吧
Ngunzi Michela, Ngumbo Rabana Wanachin, Yori, Dembaris.
我点把的我不拉巴的啊，是吧？啊是，点把的也是我，那点把是，点把原理个对了，那点把是。
Yeah, so I think in this way, then it's easier to understand what the word tainted and untainted means. So, and regarding the two aspectarians and false aspectarians that I mentioned before, so as just to recap, so we talk about the two aspectarians and false aspectarians. So to eye consciousness, for example, to an eye consciousness apprehending blue appears as blue. It exists as it appears as a gross object. It exists as it appears as a gross object. Therefore, it is true. So true aspectarians means that blue exists as it appears as a gross object. So therefore, we say it is true. So they are true aspectarians.
那这不是的，当我这么说了，我不拉巴，那我那是，原来要买的是，基本那我那是要买的，基本的，基本对吧？那基本是，基本那我那是要买的，基本的是我的，是吧？那我那是，我听不是单个是基本，听不是个使用啊，我听那是，那我那是讲的，要买的我说，没有就这个是呢，当我说大地去把桥我给。那现在嘛，对吧？有许多困难问题，rapaz não merece. Ele rapaz não é assim, ele não é nascido de Maria.
Tadi pacha ki wangi sin lama 对吧？
anda de许多的 rapaz não mate, anda na singi pacha wangi que não merece. 有困难个sin la pacha wangi não merece. sin la pacha mate ba, por问题主要是有马来是看的，另外的主要是有马来是。我这里那我的生给巴恰忘给，到底巴恰忘的那我现在太高那是有马来是，有没有现在的金巴来是，但金巴来是哪几把是，那么对吧？来些东西吧。
So for false aspectarians, then they say that to an eye consciousness apprehending blue doesn't exist as it appears as a gross object. Therefore, it is false. So therefore, they are called false aspectarians. So reason being for false aspectarians, they say the reason is, the appearance is based on the predispositions in one's mind. So without depending on the predispositions in one mind, the thing exists as if it exists. The thing exists as if it exists from the object side, or exists self-sufficiently. It appears to exist self-sufficiently. So then this is false. It doesn't exist that way.
我就是当我就是当我看到哪怕有些人是蛮多的，对吧？当我从哪怕有些人是，那么把他的那些错觉都看来的，那么我甚至看来的那些错都给的，你的那些的你的那些错觉都的。那对于那些的你那些之前的那些错误的反应，我们把这我们了解的，那些好的，好的，你把根据了，你是能把人家的热情，那基本那些明白一个是，是吧？那根据那些的连的是电的基本刚才给这个的，那这个的那些错误的对象，连的是电的基本刚才给这个，以及那些脏，
可以录有。对对，背下了。
背下来嘛，开始突然觉得没唱不过来。
哦，
对吧？
好了，好。
就等着吃它了。
다시디로.
이 진짜서 뭐
선바디.
그래서 뭐 무슨 뭐
이 가서 다시디 숨기인데.
제대로
남리바다. 남리바죠. 심장바다 남리바에 이 다시디요.
생산하는 거에 다시 와서 다시 뭘 써봐.
아니 가서 딩모만 있는 대시 말이죠. 그래서
너리 봐. 세다지 생겨 최다지 생겨 다니셔도 그거 들러서 봐. 그래서 생산밖에 다시 넣어서 봐.
이렇게 나한테 뒤쪽에서 이네 공개니 대시 우선
근데 논지보다 이거 다시 들어와. 최근 넣어서 가지.
그래서
이제 최다지 생겨 다니셔도 그거 너리 봐서 다시 들어와.
Yeah. So for Saskatchewans, they say that in fact the appearance appears based on or due to the predispositions in one's mind. However, it exists. However, it appears that it exists sufficiently without depending on the predispositions in one's mind. Therefore, it says that it is false. So regarding the etymology, 야디 양결로고 요나기실라. 디심산 만나리 바기.
야들이 너는 비밀이었어. 그렇다고.
Yes. 나 숨이.
야야. 생각을 다시는 거 그다 같이 그때. 뭐는 어다 생각을 이게 스스로 그잖아요.
Yeah, so regarding the etymology of mind only or Dhamma training. So this I have mentioned before.
간다 앉아 시작이나 간다. 신기 다니서도 그 탄지배 신기 다니서도 마이나 세상 봤어 뭐지. 와. 그다음에 신기 세상보다 너리보다 너도 저번에 되게 대소요 봐. 이거 그렇게 있잖아. 근데 최단지 신기 다니서도 마이나 세상 봐대. 간다 되게 정보도.
So so Chitta Matrin and Yoga Charin and also proponents of illusions. I forgot the Vigyattivadin. So Chitta Matrin, Vigyattivadin, and Yoga Charin, they are mutually inclusive. So regarding the etymology of Chitta Matrin or mind only, so as you can see in the text, it says that because they assert that phenomena are merely in the nature of mind. So another way of saying this is because they assert that phenomena are of the mere nature of the mind.
됐다 간다. 네. 세상 봐서 되게 좋아. 너리 봐서 와. 너리 봐도 간다. 놀라배 싫었다고 너희 최나서 맞아. 놀라. 놀라배 싫었다고 너희 최나. 너리 상도 많이 너리 봐서. 놀라 싫었다고 너희 최나. 놀라 싫었다고 너희 최나. 너리 자도 많이 너리 봐서.
나중에 페이시아이나 디 다시 가서 디 지시 개요.
뭐 일단 소문이요 맞다.
니네 남리 봐도.
머리 버는데 또 나 근데 또 집어서 간다. 요.
그래서 장기로라 필요하다고 상와 뒤하고 맞고.
그나 지금 실탄디 넘버리 받던데 나리 받에 이거. 실탄디 넘버리 받아.
이 점도 시켜봐. 가서. 나 이제 신뢰지대야. Yeah. As for proponents of cognitions, yeah, so proponents of cognitions also called Vigyattivadin. So because they assert that all phenomena are merely in the nature of cognitions. Another way of saying this is all phenomena are merely are the mere nature of cognitions, of the mere nature of cognitions, or are the mere nature of cognitions.
너 제발 들어와. 어디 놓는 거지? 안주 제발 놓지. maybe 도지 싸서 세비도 왔다서 그래.
예, 뭐라
이는 요말데.
이나로 페이지 나로
요말. 어디 간다. maybe 도지 간다. 안주 제발 maybe 도지 싸서 세비도 왔다. 내 시대면 나 세라 대 나와 주이나. 이게 대화하는 거.
거의 나이.
maybe 제발.
네 주와 남기 뭐봐. 무비도기.
도지 어디로 가?
무비도기. 사소 세도 좋아.
세비 좋아다.
네, 주된 매장.
매장?
Similar. Yeah. Then the etymology of Yoga Charin is by the power of aspiration by the power of aspirations, even though the external object do not appears, but it appears to one's mind. So like, turning the earth into a bowl. Then this is the etymology of yoga charin. So I repeat. So by the power of aspiration. Yeah. So even the etymologies, there are different etymologies of the term. So, like one way of saying the etymology of yogacharin is by the power of aspirational powers. Then, like turning earth into the goal. So even though the external object do not appear, but it appears to one's mind. So this is yogacharin, the etymology of yogacharin. So another way of saying this is, another way of saying the etymology of yogacharin is yeah. So is yeah. Yeah, so it's a yogic practitioner having attained practice because yeah, so they ascertain the practice of the deeds of the. So another way of saying this, and which I do not have the words ready with me. So is they ascertain the practice, the deeds of the practice. Yeah, they are yogic practitioner who ascertain the practice of the deeds of the path. So basically, yeah, you can refer to these are the two etymologies of yogacharin. So the modes of asserting object possessors, the true aspectarians assert 8 collections of consciousness. They add a mind basis of all and an afflicted mind to the 6 collections of consciousness asserted by other proponents of tenets, thereby asserting 8 collections of consciousness. So there are illustrations of both mind basis of all and afflicted mind. Consciousness that does not depend on the sense power as its empowering condition, and is actually other than the collections of 6 consciousnesses. These are illustrations of the first. And then the consciousness that observes its observed object, the mind basis of all, and as its aspect apprehends it to be self-supporting or substantially existent I. So true aspectarians, they assert 8 collections of consciousness. So other proponents of tenets, they assert 6 collections of consciousness. The 6 collections of consciousness are eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind consciousness. So on top of these 6 collections of consciousness, true aspectarians, they added a mind basis of all and an afflicted mind. So that makes 8 collections of consciousness. Oh, this.
이바 끈질라는 넘바 자티비 이게 김나기 나기도 아니 이시 이바 레슨 바드레서 되고 서서 먹게 마시.
So true Aspectarians, as the mind-only true Aspectarians, they assert 8 collections of consciousness that is different from the collection, that is different from the assertions by other proponents of tenets who only assert 6 collections of consciousness. So they added a mind basis of all and an afflicted mind. So there are illustrations of both mind basis of all and afflicted mind. So the illustrations of mind basis of all is consciousness that does not depend on a sense power as its empowering conditions and is factually other than the collection of 6 consciousnesses. That is the illustration of the first one, the mind basis of all. And a consciousness that observes its observed object, the mind basis of all, and as its aspect, apprehends it to be a self-supporting or substantially assistant I, is an illustration of the second.
뭐 디지털 간다 이게 마셔야 다 간다 그러면 이게 집에 강사기 쓰셔 지금도 다 간다 내가 괜찮아지 들어와 이게 때문에 강사기 쓰기 너지 말와 너지 버기 괜찮아지 돼 이게 말에 너게 봐 뭐 제가 생각 받기 나 괜찮아지 돼 렌디 때문에 집에 강사기 쓰기 되고
렌디기
때문에 집에 강사기 쓰기 와 이게 되고 그래서
because Lindy tend to give a Kanzaki So for true Aspectarians, this mind basis of all is the illustrations of a person who is the basis of cause and effect, of actions and effects.
나지바게 나시 초도도 되고요. 나지바게 나시 초도도 되디. 아 렌드 이때도 집에 가서 진짜들라. 나 이지 나시 장저 방아 저 나지바스 집에. 나지바게 그다음에 제 이지 나시 장아. 샤 되고요.
Kanzaki senshi.
가서 제 이지 나시 장. 나 근데 나지바도 저게 나 렌드 시켜도 집에 가서 제 이지 나시 장. 되고 나지바다 집에.
남좀 마이나 된 남시 초조에
나시 초도 되고 초지
남시 초조리 되게 이미지대로
나지바게 나지바게 나시 초제인데 와 초제는 리더 핑크니 초제를 와 나지바게 리더 핑크도 되게 말이 나지 나시 용다게 나시 초도 나시 용다게 초도 간사게 생기대 용다게 초도는 다 내리게 때려 집에 간사게 생겼어야 돼 근데 핑크 나시 칠때 아니 이지 나시자 라지버서 이지 나시자 간사게 생기다 그저 시체로 토마는 거니 마시마 상지살이야 로게디 어디 레판다와 시대 어디 디디오 집어지자리서 그 나지버들 나지버서 내장도 집어리스
이 지남시 잠디 강사기 생시디 되고요.
얘네 그 가게 이지 나시자 그래서
여기 텐도 규베
강사기 생시
생시
그 이지 나시자
이 남시 상니 benefit 렌디 텐도 규베 강사기 생시로. Yeah. And then as for false Aspectarians, they do not assert 8 collections of consciousness like true Aspectarians do. So false Aspectarians only assert 6 collections of consciousness. So they assert that the mental consciousness is the illustration of a person who is the basis of actions and effect, like autonomous school.
나한테 간다. 간다. 나 진짜 나한테 받아. 당시 봐서 간다로 와. 나 진짜 나한테 봐서 간다. 롱비 젠다게. 롱비 젠다게 생각 받아. 진짜 나한테 바로 와. 나 롱비 젠다 생각 맞으나 간다. 아바 토메기 사대나 손비 사대나 두속에 소지스 나한테 나한테 받아. 나 리피 젠다 생각 다 호비 쳐다가 졸라. 졸라도 속 지스 나한테 제마 디디라서 속 지스 나한테 그래서 진짜 나한테 바로 와. 나 롱비 젠다다 리피 젠다세 지스 나사게 롱데 가서 사대나 가서 사대나 또 넘번 지요와 어디 속 지스 나한테
초랑이네 딘남도 말아요.
고나와 초업에 쳐다다 초랑게 제가 디디라서 반 생각나. 속에 무슨 예전 나한테 나한테 바로 와.
So the true Aspectarians are those who follow follow the scriptures, like and the person who the person who are mind only true aspectarians following the scriptures are how to say those asangas and etc. Lungi jendang ina de tomi di sadinga la de sading tomi ina de simsam nam de barwa.
Simsam nam de paresunda to simsam nam de bagi. To simsam so kine ro. Akanda tomi jinsi di sadinga da. Bisu tu suni rachiu. Corona de paresunda diki la ya ro. Kanda lu jesi lu kare jesi da paresunda lu sadinga paba tomi jinsi sadinga. Onamba 또 시작이 제시 동계 들라 신장나 봐서
도랑 낭추라 이나 콩초기 제가 신주된다.
도는 또 제가 얘기해서 도는 그 지금 있으면 이거 제가 어 속에 세마고는 제시 단계기 제가 제시 단계기 신장나 지 봐. 계속 당가 저 비견나서 세마고는 봐자. 비견나서 비박하면 또 해야 세마고는 시험으로 와. 봐서 이거도 세마 디지털 시험으로 와. 세마 재미를 봐서 세마 디디다 또 세마 디디 시험.
간에 맞아. Yeah. So the true aspectarians following scriptures are those who mainly follows the five treatises on level composed by the Sangha, and the false aspectarians are those who follow follow those seven treatises on valid cognitions.
도시 따라서 다만다 끼지다 마 디시 통기다 니를 마 지야이로 다 신자만 하다 다 끼지다 니니 무슨데 와 네 나기 무슨 담아 또 지요 다 간다 끼지 도망가서 끼지 나시 되지 미바다 같이 지야이로 와 나시 되게 미바 가도 그래서다 빨리 지요 와 어디 맞지 지야이스.
So this mind basis of all and afflicted mind are the special assertions asserted by mind only school or the true aspectarians. So regarding this mind basis of all, so how say there are four, but there are few features, and the first feature is object of observation.
미바다 남바다 도다 뭐시 치치기다 내마치 뭐가 이거와 이 나시서다 한다 미바 뭐와 남바 뭐 진치되지 그게 나시서다 된 거야 치치시다 내마치 와 이 나시서 내가 받으면 더 쉬워.
So mind basis of all possesses four features, and these four features are objects of observation. The second one is aspect. The third one is accompanier, or what accompanies it. Accompanier, or what accompanies it. And the last one is entity or nature.
미바들라 간다 되죠. 그래서 왕대 바샤스는 왕보다 왕봉하다. 그래서 소나 다 바샤. 미바데 대손에 미바데 와.
Yeah. So the object of observation for mind basis of all are three. The three are sense powers, objects, and predispositions. So the five senses, five objects, and predispositions.
그런데 바샤되기로 와. 그런데 너도 치 무지시 바샤다. 그런데 이렇게 계산해. 그거에 바라다 바샤 시비나 바샤. 아주 생자는 거라 바샤 되는 거 이거 와. 이해를 마셔야. 그래서 내가 봐. 와.
And how's it predispositions? Again, there are three. So as we mentioned before, so there are three predispositions. The first one is predispositions of verbalization, and the second one is predispositions of the view of self, and the third one is predispositions of the branches of existence. So these I will revisit again.
원봉하다. 이용할. 따서서 변화. 니치. 이게 삼아. 딱 끊기는 나오. 그러면 이게 받아 쓰고 그만. 니치 받아 대왕에 이들은 나와. 也是我看到，并且那一些机，并且你把小路啊，
关系了
把小
闹，
路啊，或者是说干嘛的，不去的，是说的，就是有啊，就是说啊，内心级的多啊，内心级的是他妈的，看到内心级的刚刚的，那并且了那啊，你把小的啊，并且了你把小路进去的看的，中国是呢，把下点往他看到并且那我也是把下问题。
我就给拍给忘记，汪峰啊，陈勇啊，那你得关系了闹有了，
也是。你把它，我是在你把它小块听见了。
关系呢，关系那么些了。Yeah. So why do we say that this theory, the sense power, the five objects, and three predispositions are the objects of observations by mind basis of all? So the reason being, due to the power of predispositions of verbalization, five senses and five objects appears to the mind basis of all. So because of this, therefore we say that they are the objects of observations of mind basis of all.
这都是俺这故意那些，但讲他故意那些，把这个讲他就说没事去这下午对吧？但你们是这这我的根据你把它强要嘛，
关系给去。
你们是去这我的根据你把它强嘛，也是个。
And uncompounded phenomena are not said to be the objects of observations of a mind basis of all. So they are not the objects of observation of mind basis of all.
那我是对小的我说没把个七八点子，但我是对对的地方就可以，当比七八小的话，那比七八点，你把这对比学的话，
那么也可以去的。
我那比去的。
And the second one is the feature of aspect.
但那比七八的看到，那把一个没意思的，你就给他看到，你就给他看到三万弄的，三万弄家看到，那些人看到你把的时候，你就买的三万弄的也是。
考我是三万弄的。
不是，
没把点说。
没把说，弄把的，但弄把是我这没把说，三万弄把的话，
三万弄讲。
弄把，三万弄个的人呢，人把的人那说的。刚才你那些年挂的是，你个把几十年半给你买的是个，那把说的，你不是三万那也是，三万那个呢，你也是，你个买的是，然后就是刚才你把给你买的是的了，
其实挺嘛了，
你个买的是个，
So the aspect of mind basis of all is, so even though those objects of observations clearly appear to mind basis of all, however, mind basis of all doesn't ascertain them, doesn't cognize them, and doesn't remember them. So this is the aspect of mind basis of all.
那俺说多去把它点把就啊，那多的了俺说刚才根据那些的，他的公众啊有啊，我到公众啊的对重叠效果，公众啊重叠效果的公众啊那了俺说昨晚这些先把这把一来些把这送俺的话，昨晚这些先把这把一来些把的话，昨晚这些先把这把一来些把，我到点俺的，那俺说我是我这俺说昨晚当牛效果，根据那是不是嘛？我当然不能对，但是我对我对我自己还有没得时候。
Yeah. So regarding the third one, the accompanier or what accompanies mind basis of all are five omnipresent factors. The five omnipresent factors are feeling, discrimination, intention, contact, and mental attentions or mental engagement. So the feeling that accompanies mind basis of all is neutral feeling.
你那些看到我从这来看到的话，那公众啊嘛多，公众啊不能嘛多，现在看到的话，这里的女人是吧？我习惯这里的女人，我说别从这个路要买的时候，那给我的没给有的话，我那都知道别从这个路给我买的时候，我就是路买的是差不多的时候。
So mind.
但是公众啊，可能买有买的话，我怎么都能买票的话。我可能我的马地罗马的松山，那刚才生就些，那刚才就是这个这个在后头我要买的是，
Yeah, so mind basis of all is only accompanied by 5 omnipresent factors and not accompanied by others mental factors such as root afflictions, secondary afflictions, or virtuous mental factors. Because the nature of mind basis of all is unobstructed and neutral.
有没有知道呗？应该那些活动主要嘛，也是有没有？有没有的话，就有接着把它做，你接着把它，你把它做，你是对吧？你接着把它做，根据的话有接着把它，你不管有没对吧？我有没有的，刚才说的这个嘛的是，对吧？嘛你们觉得个是呢？有接着的稍微进行嘛的是嘛，就根据那个有接着把这个摆脱，你这个是给你嘛的是，对吧？有没有说的话，有接着把它这个效果的话，有接着把。
知道吧？你做嘅，
我聽住啊，先生，咁我就根據我哋都係用埋，真係都係用埋呢啲。
人哋要知道吧？你就做把錢用埋，
知道吧？用埋呢啲啦，
用埋。And mind basis of all is also not accompanied by 5 object ascertaining factors because it doesn't engage with particular objects.
根据那些破的啦，我是出的啦，这个要我们学习到的，你的我的结巴需要，这个讲的，根据那些这个我们是讲到这个，你那些叫的，你这么结巴了，你不听这种话，我如果把它破的结巴听这种话，我听你手上，我蛮喜欢，你那些广东蛮喜欢。
And again, mind basis of all is not accompanied by 4 changeable mental factors such as sleep, lethargy, and etc. Because 4 changeable mental factors, they are not uninterrupted. They are not uninterrupted. Another way of saying this is 4 changeable mental factors. They are interrupted, so they are not like a mind basis of all, which are uninterrupted.
我的是，那我就看到补充的时候多，对吧？看的，那多的我是被
講到啲成語詞，那啲原車嘅話，成語詞啲原車嘅話，你哋關心諗先，那啲原車嘅話，關心諗先，那原車嘅話，yeah. So mind basis of all is continuous. So, however, 4 changeable mental factors, they are not continuous like the mind basis of all. Therefore, 4 changeable mental factors doesn't accompany mind basis of all.
我一切吧的话，我一切吧的看到，我一切吧的话是吧？我就你比切吧的，我切吧的，那你切吧的蛮多是噻，少那比切吧，多一切吧，我一切吧多是什么？那等我就我一切吧的蛮多是吧
？And then the 4th feature is its nature.
我一切吧的蛮低了嘛的，我的今天那些的我蛮低了嘛的，也是我蛮低了嘛的。
So the nature of mind basis of all, or the entity of mind basis of all, is unobstructed and neutral.
刚才你那些的，我比起那些的刚才给我的，也没把它给把这个比起，
给我谈，给我谈有冇？
给我的年我把它搞定了，我把这个比起的也是的。
And what is mind basis of all? So mind basis of all is the basis in which the predispositions of virtue and afflictions infuse or deposit.
他把这个比起是的，刚才根据那些的，一万多没吧，是吧？一万多没吧，这是不的什么这边，根据你这边，你这个什么买的我那边生意正嘛。这种会在根据可能是个，那店铺前面把的都可能是个把这些的把这车子怎么回事是吧？这车子有吧？我店铺去做的吧？店铺主要是个，那根据搞的实际上办公的是的，店铺去做的是。
So mind basis of all is stable or steady, and it doesn't change. So it exists. Its continuity exists from the beginningless time. then until now, and then that goes to the ground of Buddha as well. So because so this continuity of mind basis of all is stable or steady in the sense that it doesn't change, and then it flows from since it flows from beginningless time to now, and it will flow to the future to the state of Buddhahood. So if it is not stable, then there is a danger that the predispositions that infuse in the mind basis of all, or that persists in the mind basis of all, will go wasted.
먼저 긴진하시는 것도 뭐 샤오디 로아 마디 루마티 세라고 로아서 로아 디마디네 마디 계시고 로아 뭐디 주사인 거 마디 약간다 이 루마디 차스나 이세와 누가 계시고 로아 그 공화자 차고 로아 공화자 차스나 뭐서 디바리야 같은 거 통도디고 내가 저는 거니 약간다 로아 선지 같은 데도 kom 내가 차는 거 내가 잘 보러 뒤서 안 보러 예 지마리에 가서 간다 때라 가서 바디니 요레스 누가 바디바니 마디로 마디 그래서
So the nature of mind basis of all, whether it is obstructed or unobstructed, so it is unobstructed and neutral. So because if a mind basis of all were if a mind basis of all was obstructed, then it will become an object of abandonment. For example, if a person feel the arhatship, then it will be abandoned. Or another example is when a person achieves the state of enlightenment, then this, since it is an obstructed, it is an object of abandonment, then it will be abandoned. So however, it is unobstructed. It is not obstructed.
요 말에서 뭐 요 말에서 요 많이 비슷해 가르스나 게자 피비 강자기라 공기나 요래 해서 요 말에서 요 인스나고 한다 게자 피비기라 매고로 봐 게자 피비 강자기라 매고로 봐 군지 때 매바 차나 때 빠차 고지 매바 차는 거로 와
개와이나
개와이나 게자 피비 강자기라 매고로 때 매고서다 개와 말에 게자 치비 반상기라 이거는 예스 어디
yeah. And regarding the second nature of mind basis of all is it is neutral, right? So is mind basis of all virtuous? So it is not virtuous because it exists in the mind stream of a person whose roots of virtue is severed, it is cut or is severed. So therefore, it is not virtuous. Because if mind basis of all is virtuous, then it is necessary that it doesn't exist in the mind stream of a person whose roots of virtue is severed.
이 고단 처대보다 가서 인지나시대 상레오디 기와 있어 게자 치비 강자지라 인지나시대 매부도 게자 치비 강자지다 개와 치는 요 말와 게자 치비 강자 개와 요 말와 아 개와 메시지 때 게자 치비 강자지라 인지나 개와 있으나 게자 치비 강자지라 요 말때 그래서 게자 치비 강자라 내 게티 가니스나 바샤 샤사도 미도와 내 바샤 샤사 매바 차는 거와 어때 매바 순자 아 개와 말이 게자 치비 강자지라 요래서 데 엠고치 가지고
So it's easy to understand, right? When we talk about the mind basis of all, its nature is neutral. So when we say the mind basis of all is neutral, means that it is not virtuous. It's not virtuous in nature. So because mind basis of all exists in the mind stream of a person whose roots of virtue is severed. So roots of virtue is severed also means that person there is no virtue in the mind stream of that person. So, however, mind basis of all exists in the mind stream of a person whose roots of virtue is severed. Therefore, he is not virtuous. So, when we say that, if this mind basis of all was virtuous, then it has to be then it doesn't exist in the mind stream of a person whose roots of virtue is severed, right? Because if it was virtuous, then then it has to then it doesn't necessarily that it doesn't exist in the mind stream of a person whose root of virtue is severed.
那讲到跟那些我的没给我买的什么呢？他给我买的是老实话，他没给我买的，没给我买就是告诉呢，他看古嘛呢，你讲是有的，也是看古嘛一点，他是看吧，是那个是有的话，我看古嘛是看，是那个对了嘛说，对起来东西有的，古嘛呢他没给我用，你看看古嘛来，是吧？没给我用嘛的，他没给我意思呢，看古嘛给了，我看见那个。看古嘛是被下过一起古话，没把查了古话，我没给我买的是没给我买一批的，看古没，看古嘛呢有的也是给看古嘛有的是吧？
看古咩嘅叫啦，未叫我哋用。
没给我用，看古嘛他就罗马的生活说，他给我罗马的嘛都，没多少你用嘛是。
给我哋諗羅馬嘅嘛。Yeah, and the mind basis of all is also not non-virtuous. So the reason being, because it exists in the mind stream of two higher realms, in the mind stream of those who are in two higher realms. So two higher realms are form realms and formless realms. So because it exists in the mind streams of those in the form realm and the formless realms. So in the mind stream of those in these two realms, there is no non-virtue. There is only virtue or neutral. So, and if this mind basis of all was non-virtuous, then this mind basis of all doesn't exist. Yeah, doesn't exist in the. And this mind basis of all would not exist in the mind stream of those in the form realm and formless realm. And then then it will absolutely follows that there is no mind basis of all in their mind stream. Then there is no basis in which the imprints deposits or infuse.
Okay. 我刚才对于那些刚才去把洗的，也好好把钱没比切吧，是吧？没吧，两吧，也干的，我一起把洗的去在是吧？这去的嘛，你去在是吧？刚才可能我的了，刚才去在是吧？他马地罗马听不到，第时间第二步就好把钱我马地罗马的是吧？对吧？我马地罗马的，我应该见的那种东西，我应该见的那种东西，日本人们见的那种东西，这是见我是吧？我这个好把钱，这是学校是吧？这是我是吧？
And so these are the four features of a mind basis of all. So the first one is object of observation. The second one is aspect. And the third one is accompanier or what accompanies it. And the fourth one is nature. So the nature of mind basis of all is, as I mentioned, unobstructed and neutral. So how to try to understand the nature of a mind basis of all. So if it was obstructed, then what faults will follow? And if it was virtuous, then what faults will follow? And if it was non-virtuous, then what faults will follow? So I try to understand the nature, especially the nature of mind basis of all.
根据这些的问题，根据这些的，去那就稍微更过一些的，意思，去那就稍微更过一些的，这些牛的。 去那就稍微更过一些的。
무슨 남식이 가시고 무슨 남기 사배 사배
更一些呢？
균 남기 사배 균 고이시
자고 계시는 거로 이게 뜻이에요. 내비나 비들
Yeah. So the etymology of mind basis of all is called basis of all. Thus, it is the basis in which the seed of all phenomena are deposited. And mind basis of all and operating consciousness, they are mutually inclusive. So, and the etymology of appropriating consciousness is because at the time of conceptions, it is the appropriator of the body, and until death, it is the holder of the body. Therefore, it is called appropriating consciousness. So, mind basis of all and appropriating consciousness, they are mutually inclusive. So, besides the etymology of mind basis of all, so the etymology for appropriating consciousness is at the time of conceptions, it is the appropriator of the body, and at the time of until death, it is the holder of the body. Therefore, it is called appropriating consciousness. Yeah, so this is a brief explanations on basis of all. And if you would like to, read more about basis of all, then you can refer to the text composed by Jetsun. The rough translation is extensive explanation or extensive commentary. So this is a brief explanation on mind basis of all from the perspective of four features. So and if you were to look at it in an extensive point of view, then there are many other features. So then that is about mind basis of all, and the second one is afflicted mind. And afflicted mind also has four features. The first one is exactly the same features as the mind basis of all. So the first one is observation. The second one is aspect. The third one is the nature, and the fourth one is the accompanier.
Oh, that kind of
yeah, so the objects of observation for afflicted mind is mind basis of all. So afflicted mind observe its object, which is mind basis of all. And the aspects of afflicted mind is grasping at grasping a mind basis of all as I or mine. So grasping mind basis of all as I and mine.
Oh, that
the nature of an afflicted mind is obstructed and neutral. So mind basis of all, the nature is unobstructed, right? However, afflicted mind, its nature is obstructed because it is an object of abandonment. Tawa. Tawa maripa ngaji. Tawa in kasa tawa ina ta maripa ina ta ngagi sama de lunga madere. Mit Chokyi yo. And the accompaniers of an afflicted mind is those neutral view, ignorance, pride, and attachment. Yeah, so these are the 4 features of an afflicted mind. So the aspect of an afflicted mind is grasping the 9 bases of all sky and mind, and the nature of an afflicted mind is obstructed and neutral. You see, in fact, afflicted mind is accompanied by many others. So besides the neutral view, neutral ignorance, neutral pride, neutral attachment, and there are many other mental factors that accompany afflicted mind. So afflicted mind, as I just now, as I mentioned, then is neutral, right? So we do not perceive afflicted mind as non-virtuous. Yeah, we do not perceive it as non-virtuous, because if we were to perceive an afflicted mind as non-virtuous, then it would not exist in the mind stream of those in the higher realms, form realm and formless realm. So, the nature of an afflicted mind is neutral. So, and this afflicted mind, besides 3 times, so it exists all the time when one is in the samsara, or it manifests all the time when one is in samsara. Nega summa to right? Yeah. So besides the 3 times, so it basically manifests all the time when one is in samsara, right? So when these 3 exceptional times is the first one. So when one is in meditative equipoise on cessation. So when one is in meditative equipoise on afflictions. So at that time, there is no afflicted mind. So another way of saying this is afflicted mind doesn't manifest.
단 고발은 연보시거든. 단 대랑을 되지 봐. 아, 대랑 여러 대랑. 다 간다 이제 대랑을 되지서 도망가서 넘샤대. 아, 그런. 하나 토마 토비도 가는 가서 냠샤바 차. 아빌라. 봐. 하나 토마 토비 가서 냠샤바 차디래. 이 냠샤바 이거는 이디요 말고 말이죠. 아빌라 토마 토비 냠샤바 대랑을 되지 봐. 대랑서 가서 하나 먹으라 토마. 와. 토마. 저나 토마 토비 내가나 안다. 아주 유지 뭐야 안다. 이거 누구요? 냠샤비니까 차.
And the second time is when one first achieved the path, the Arya path, then because one is still in the meditative pose, then afflicted mind, there is no afflicted mind or afflicted mind that doesn't manifest. When one first attained the path, Arya path. Melola.
Oh, Manola, that's a bit. Tony Zambola, Chigora, no, Oyarwa. Or Dutch of Tobinegana, Chigana, Metana, and Opala, nobody color, Maris, and Della Tambo, Della Tobicana, Maris, Marwa. Dutch of combatant, Dutch of combatant, he paid so near, on Oh, and that Bobala number Shibata, Gilang, how much about he never need for your mother. Your mother, you to your mother. Make a susan with your mother. That Dutch authority, that Morola the Chili Capua, that Morola need from Morola for nothing needed. Your money will work.
I should be going to topic of lie. You need a pangmaro. It's our native pangmaro. You need your money. It's our pangmaro. And then the third time is when one achieves the arhatship. So when one achieves the arhatship, then afflicted mind is has uprooted. So there is no afflicted mind. So during the first two times, the time when one is meditative equipoise on cessations, and the second time when one first achieved the path of the Arya path. So during these two periods, or during these two times, even though the afflicted mind has not yet been abandoned, but they do not manifest. So however, when one achieves the arhatship, then this afflicted mind is uprooted and thus abandoned.
Oh, that was a table chimney on the Sheba. That's a Giba totally done. Teaching on the China. Said Jiba, the mother said, Dignivas. When the said Dignivas, that was the Yashamato.
Sat doing the nigga.
Said Diminchilla. Said Diminchilla Kanda. And Nasha with the Polish Sarwa. Nasha nigga to look at the English to your mare. You're Kanda. That's a Jiba Tobacco attack on the Yupon.
Because this sat doing the manger in the Yamshagi capsule.
No, she got you
need a Yoma.
Nasha Mahibala never needed.
Then Jay capsule me, your Mari, I'm going to do your Maris.
Where did you go? They can say Jeba told the guns, and you want to go up, and then you want to get you to your Mari.
You depang and you
are
you need the deep goes to so as according to Mahayana, then when one is on the when one is on the seventh ground and below, so during meditative equipoise, so there is no afflicted mind. So another way of saying this is there is the afflicted mind doesn't manifest when one is in meditative equipoise. So when one achieves the eighth ground, then this afflicted mind is abandoned. The afflictive obscuration is abandoned. So this afflicted mind that is a part of afflictive obscurations is abandoned.
Oh, that need is raw. Oh, that you put the Shivanga to Kuji or the Liji Dakanda, Kuji the Mato, my need just in another watch is not Dutch of the combat. Kuji the Yak on the Dutch of the quantum, what of the Kanda, nomination watches on which is one moment you worry. But yeah, you can't tell what. On the teacher said, Jeba, you depend the nomination war. You worry. Hey, you sound you said, do you take on the melon that we chase more to work? 没弄到维系什么地方路的，都是说的，但故意的嘛，上去下把那路有的话军的，军的上去下把路有的刚才军挺有嘛的。
这面那的就是
这就把这就把这里的，但没弄到维系的地方吧，你知道吧？
thế mình nó thì ta chuẩn bị có bằng để thốt tu anh thì quân sinh năm sĩ thì năm mình năm sĩ thì mình ở đây cứu anh thì sang cái sa là thốt tu anh thì mình long
tập sang cái sa là nó thì bắt chim làm chuyện đó rồi
yeah, so according to Hinayana, so when one achieved the arhatship, then this mind basis of all will transform into the frictional consciousness. Will transform into the functional consciousness. So its continuity is continuous. So then when one achieves the Buddhahood, then this functional consciousness will transform into the mirror-like exalted wisdom.
就是他刚才根据了女人，他刚才那些出去的，别当都是地些是吧？他这个说地气的嘛，说把下说的嘛，我这是这边，可是这边社会原去。是吧？好像那是我们这些把这大地把这西边那个把下是的，但是呢，我是生长被大外的新到了，把电视我对，这个这样的对吧？那样的我把这电视呢，把其他新把就不过，生长被大外也不新了，把这电视呢也不能是不过，那是继续两家，经过几年的多去了，是吧？
你生意过来就算一杯的了啊，生意过来就算一杯，看现在养家的路面。So this is the brief explanations on the 8 collections of consciousness asserted by mind-only true aspectarians. So they added the mind basis of all and afflicted mind to the 6 collections of consciousness. So, and in order to understand mind-only school well, then one must know well the three dispositions that I mentioned in previous class. So to make us better understand what these three, better understand mind-only school. So I would like to briefly go through again the 3 predispositions.
那把枪是那看到，还是这个人，因为你的把枪，把地把枪，是不一样的把枪，是吧？因为这些把枪，把枪是不一样的把枪是得说起，是吧
？So the 3 predispositions are predispositions of verbalization, the first one, and the second one is predispositions of the view of self, predispositions of view of the self, and the third one is predispositions of the branches of existence.
当然说，我们这个把枪说的，都必须的把枪，都必须的把枪，因为这是把枪说的，必须的把枪，也是，因为这是把枪说的。
So the first one, predispositions of verbalization, is predispositions that is deposited by conceptual thoughts.
那大地把枪是几有啊？大地把枪说的，那讲的你的这个当地说的，说个下面把枪，是吧？你说，那可是个当地了什么的都，你给他给下面把枪，这个大地把枪。
And the second one, predispositions of a view of the self, are the predispositions of predispositions deposited by afflictions such as afflicted mind and self-graspings of person.
那我说的西边那个把下是为了什么的？西边那个把下说的，我们给我的给来下的把下的，没给我的给来那所下的把下就是吧？来那所下的把下，对了，讲的西边的下是。
And predispositions of the branches of existence are the predispositions that is deposited by all sorts of actions of all sorts of virtuous and non-virtuous actions.
刚刚说把下的时候，往里头讲的有哪些？你讲的这些习惯，把下的时候往里边，我说先把个有哪的这些习惯的，当我看到就我我就是把下习惯，我就是把下习惯的，去哪了？ 这个东西肯定就是觉得看到，我就是把这说肯定拿做，我要的，我现在的结果是，我就是把这等的，我就是把这地方，我就是把这地方给你拿做的话，多些吧，看到， there's sebo, then not so nobody shebate, the shake is as an energy.
도시에바데.
Oh, Doshi, but differently. And in Nato, nobody just shake it. Still, what a serious now. I'm going to get what they want. Also, the sebo rendus are not delivered. Nobody rendus that the making no one. Still, what a signal which was a what they want. What did the part of the Mebina? You know what I need to do. Wow.
Now was the disabled is somehow there.
It's a no one you
Mm.
it's a no one. I didn't know what she were. That was a challenge. She were.
Disabled in Nangiorite, and it Muji Pacha de Mewaina, and disabled and Yambe Samlotin, Nangimaro.
What I did, you know, the same what I'm not what someone did. There was time that you know what he to Marisa would
Disabled
or disabled
Samlotin.
or did it to Marisa.
So due to these predispositions, object appears to consciousness. So, for example, the predispositions of verbalizations. So these predispositions of verbalization is like a cause that cause you to know. It's a cause through which you know to impute names. It's a cause through which you know how to impute names on objects. For example, if there is a thing in front of you, then this blue thing is in front of you. So this blue appears to you. So if you do not have the predispositions of verbalizations, then the thought thinking this is blue or this is yellow, for example, will not appear in your mind. So even though it appears to you, but the thought thinking this is blue, this is yellow will not appear in your mind.
I was a book to Galapin, which is by the city of Massimo. Who to Galan, as indeed the Bengo, the stable metal cabo Maboka, the Shawana, in this stable is on Tinino, and the Dingo board is at the beginning. I don't need to Marisco. Dingo to which is Pasha, they to your city of Venus.
When you Pasha the Yoma,
oh, your Marisco. Chujugas, that which is Pasha say of
Yeah, so for example, a baby. So at that time there is no predispositions of verbalization, or another way of saying this is predispositions of verbalization is not activated. So due to which, even though the blue or yellow is in front of the baby, but there is no such appearance of thought thinking this is blue, this is yellow.
Well, that which is Pasha say what Tani Joshi. Tani Joshi, Joshi, Pasha not to me. Me the Lape, Tani not so Joshi, Joshi, Pasha not to me. Me to write to your roa. Tani not so Joshi, that's the word. Not a trippy Pasha say the word. Trippy Pasha not that you're not so apart. Go ahead. It was in a part. Mambo, but go ahead with the
Mambo Chawa,
or Mambo part. Mambo Jaha, oh, she didn't answer upon was she didn't answer Mambo to the part. Indeed, I don't think it. Or do it, Pasha. You do Pasha say, below, let's go. Patrima.
Patrima.
Oh, now he did, but you Mambo part.
Oh,
you the shit. I know that. You Mambo to the part, little.
Oh, just to draw.
Oh, not too much.
Oh, Jimba. Jimbe Pacha Taboro.
Oh, that is Jimmy Pacha.
Jimmy Pacha,
Jimmy Pacha's logo. Jimmy Pacha.
Yep. Yeah. So in some texts, it says that these predispositions of verbalization is also called predispositions that knows how to impute name on phenomena. So it's also called predispositions that knows how to impute names on phenomena. So and it's also called predispositions. Predisposition. 實點講？所以啲追俾爬下嚟嘅，呢個啲追俾爬下。追俾爬下，你講意思那啲去。Elaborate. Okay. Yeah, so it's also called elaborating.
이시요랑 이번 타투가 또하시기지.
Yeah, so it's also called elaborating predispositions because one's mind elaborates phenomena. This predisposition elaborates a phenomenon.
그래서 다디 바샤세와. 다디 바샤세와는 내가 다도 나오는 뭐 집이 바샤로 빌어와. 다도 나오는 집이 바샤들이. 됐다. 아까나 기타 제지 바샤아래. 또 다디 바샤세와. 기타 제지 바샤아래. 이게 바샤는 그래. 내가 카메라와.
기타 제지 바샤다.
다도 나오는 뭐 집이 바샤. 다도 나오는 뭐 집이 바샤다. 기타 제지 바샤이 And
the second one, predispositions of view of the self, is also called predispositions that produce the thought, thinking, I. As it produce the thought, always thinking I. And it's also called predispositions of transitory collections, because it is the predispositions that produce the transitory collections. View of transitory collections, sorry. View of transitory collections. Sorry. Huh? Ini be. Ichi ni me regila.
That the confuse that much.
What is it?
That the amount of
Shungas. Tenati like.
Another one. Nanda Mazu that Bajase. Dati Bajase Wadi.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yes,
sir. So these predispositions of a view of the self is the predispositions that produce the thought always thinking I, and is also called predispositions of view of the transitory collections, because this predisposition is the one that produce the view of the transitory collections. So this is the second one, the predispositions of view of the self.
Sera Madhyamaka, the current student to student to what the vision of the rest. Then now they not quite on the race. Once the magical Sera Mazo, not there, but not the Java says you are, vision of green, so she the chronic, so she did once the machine mobile, no one has it to a no one has it, you married to Mares, the Java you are, was vision of that day, and that is that Dati Basha. Dati Pasha of the ones who make it in Mumbo, Sera Mateba, Sushi wanted to watch it now. Now, what is Sugi? She's so worse now. Dati Pasha Tewangi, the not you raise one. There, Dati Pasha the Mebachi, you know, as over several candy cover Sera Mateba Koran wanted to do that in now the later Marisigo. Did not just think Marisigo.
So, regarding these predispositions of view of the self. So, also when we talk about true aspectarians and false aspectarians, then there is a difference in their assertions, right? So one said that things exist as it appears, and another one say that things do not exist as it appears. So when we look at thing in front of us, like for example, a blue. So to an eye consciousness apprehending blue. So this blue appears as if it exists from the object side without depending on the predispositions of in the mind. So it appears as if it exists from the object side without depending on the predispositions in the mind. So what caused such appearance? So is the predispositions of view of the self. So because of these predispositions, so things appears as if they exist from the object side without depending on the predispositions in one's mind.
다디 바샤데 가서데 슈사로와 다디 바샤 두치 다 CB랑 바샤데 다 CB랑 바샤스와다 가나들에 노와나 진진 두바시데 지와다 지와르 부시다 아다 마 두수 바샤들에 가다로와 바시기 바샤 그래서 베다 바샤데 지와 누가 가리네 보이나 누가 데려봐 레지시 바샤들와
이제 렘비
지지 지와레 레지기 바샤들와 원래 지기지 바샤 돼요. 상관서 만다 시계랑 바샤서도 가 대신 가서 밀어요 봐. 왜 레나서 기사도 바샤라요 봐. 아 누워리 두갈때 레나서 되게 사도 바샤들랑 가서 시계랑 바샤 주의 봐. 오다 시계랑 바샤기 간다 누워나서 봐봐. 아 티치야 바샤디 시계랑 바샤 되겠어. 와
Yeah, so then we come to the third one, predispositions of the branches of existence. So as I mentioned just now, this predisposition is a predisposition that is deposited by all sorts of virtuous and non-virtuous actions, right? So this predisposition is the predispositions that takes rebirth. Yeah, this is the predispositions that produce
누워나서 뭔가 좀 누워 해봐. 와 상이 같이 시비랑 바샤고. 저 시비랑 바샤를 해서.
Yeah, so it's
이미 교재 가서 나도 시비랑 바샤를 내나서 사는 다 바샤지로와. 내나서 사는게 상계 샤비들이 사비 샤비 바샤지 차대로와. 뭐 대순다 다 시비랑 바샤되게 안다 누가 찡이 상이 창조는마 찡찡이 다 시비랑 바샤지. 어디와.
Yeah. So due to these predispositions, then one takes rebirth in miserable rebirth or fortunate rebirth. So because this predisposition is the predispositions deposited by all sorts of virtuous and non-virtuous actions, right? So because of these, then one takes one takes a different rebirth in the happy realms or in the miserable realms.
저 바샤 대스보다 빼가 마치자가 딱 되고 싶어요. 저는 그 고단 처럼 되고요. 저 바샤 대스보다 마 리바 빼지라 마자를 씌우 들어와. 빼지라 자원을 가서 다 먹는지 바샤 되어야 그 최대 대사에서 이때 노안가 가서 뭐지 바탕을 그래서 오러와. 나다 뭐지 바자고 최대 네가 최대 네 치리 나비 여기 나와 들고와. 네 나와대 뭐지 바샤 오고 들고와. 로와 네 최근에 살이 이 바샤라 티네 우리 나와지 여러와 어디 문제지 바샤고 정말해서 뭐 저랑 좋아.
Yeah. So to give you an example regarding these three predispositions so that we can better understand it. So the example for the first type of predisposition is, due to the first types of predispositions, when there is an appearance of thoughts thinking that this is water, this is earth, or this is a ground.
나한테 대통령 하고 싶어져야 나한테 내 처리에 내 살에 이제 든지 민주로와 나 미디에 랑게 생기 싫어 유라다 봐 많이 봐 미디에 랑게 생기 봐 아빠 많이 봐 미디로와 미디에 그런 거에 쭉 필요 그런 유 그런 거에 남스 되게 되고 한다 미디에 가서 생기 바샤게 봐 우리 따봐 많이 봐 근데 미디에 유 그런 거에 찾고 가지 이리 나온 거에서 미디에 좋아 그 처리인데 그래서 되니 나와 미요로 되니 미디에 나 싫어 거에 쭉 뭐 나와지 뭐 되니 나와지 내가 들어 다 간다 다지 바샤세 다지 바샤원데 rimba doesn't know that.
So the first one is the appearance of thought thinking. This is water. This is ground, right? And this is due to this here is due to the first type of predispositions, which is predispositions of verbalization. Then this name or this label, I'll say, appears as if it exists from the external object side, without depending on the predispositions in the mind. So this is due to the predispositions of view of the self. So the name or the label that appears during the first predispositions. So the name exists as if it exists from the external object side without depending on the imputations imputed by the predispositions in one's mind.
senji erwa senji shiro yela pata ba mai ba shiro khorange ngone chutu ba nang yorwa chutu ba nang wa da da di ba shang wo nang yorwa mari ba da da tendi chutu ba nang de la tine ramin ta so ba no yin da chutu ba nang de la tine de sangye ramin na so na do da nang de la tine wa shiro senji pata ba mai ba khorange ngone chutu ba nang de la tine da Zangi 나초 나는 거다.
Zangi 나초 된다.
Zangi 또 봐. Zangi 나초가 나와 tillatini. 나와 tillatini. 빠차. 드라미 나초 잘하다. 우리 나초 드라미 나초 나와 tillatini. 빠차. 드라미 잘하고 빠차로. 빠차 망보지 잘하고. 봐. 나와 tillatini. 내 장에 싸는 간다. 나와 tillatini. 내 장보다 내 망보지 싸는 거라. 다 나와 tillatini. 요즘에 천나오디 나와텔라 텐데기 나오디 레난소스 아 무엇이 좀 마이나 무엇이 좀 나는 거래 야보 마이나 야보 있나 거래 와 도자기도 야보 나는 거래 안다 수비 용안에 나오네 진나오로 와 텐데 나와텔라 텐데 내 장에 싸고 내 장보다 내가 나서 봐서 거래 근데 내 장에 나서 봐서 돼 CPL랑 마셔 오는데 했었다 오르와 CPL랑 마셔 Tata ko pachas no motu se ba ei ton ma do di tab de mo shujerde.
Yeah. So during the second predispositions, so in fact, is one's mind imputes on the external object, right? So however, it appears as if the thing exists from the external object side without depending on the imputations imputed by the without depending on the imputations due to the predisposition in one's mind. So because of this appearance that exists from the external object side, then all sorts of virtuous and non-virtuous actions appears. So all sorts of virtuous and non-virtuous actions appears means that one accumulates virtuous and non-virtuous actions because of the previous predispositions. So, like for example, a bad one appears to be good, and a good one appears to be bad. So, because of these appearances, then one accumulates virtuous and non-virtuous actions in relation to those appearances. So, because of these actions, virtuous and non-virtuous actions, it leaves all sorts of imprints in one's mind stream. So, and these imprints is the imprints of predispositions. So it's called predispositions of the branches of existence. So you see how it flows from the first and the second, then to the third predispositions, right? So this example is easy to understand because it gives a using these three predispositions in one example.
Pasha Tiwa can draw the Chewa the Dumata. So now so ba Akanda Yumbade SB along the Pasha one. CB along the Pasha. What? Oh, there's an announcement that is also but no him not. No, there's an announcement. There's an announcement stop subject Kanda related Pasha Shurua. Announcement Pasha. Pasha de CB along Pasha de la one at Chewa announcement, they do now so.
Because of the appearance as if it exists from the external object side, right? So in relation to such appearance, then one accumulates all sorts of virtuous and non-virtuous actions. Then it leaves those actions leave the imprints or predispositions or deposits the predispositions, and because of this predisposition is predispositions of the branches of existence. Due to these predispositions of the branches of existence, then one takes rebirth in happy realms, in miserable realms, experience pleasant and unpleasant feeling.
디지털이 가서 대 샤기 좋아. 걔는 가서 단데 물질에 가서 생수다 생사별과 생수도 나셔야 돼. 다 가서 생활 용도 부다 소세 대신에 다 제리야 그래서 지시자리. 다 제리야 이제 지시해 좋아. 생수도 돼. 다 가서 생사별도 조조 가서 내다 맞지. 제가 말 창조배 제가 쉬고나 다 뒤생과 대용 말아 와. 뭐 무슨 뭐 조조 지시해 좋아.
Yeah, so this is the explanations on what we have already covered before on three dispositions. So in coming class, so next week then I will also recap the three characters which are other powered, thoroughly established, and imputational.
다 들이시다 노마스 디모 카투 시다 노마스 나마스 다나 데레로와 이 드림 도와 그가 샤크 데스랬다 리시야 이셀로 사자 다리 진짜 제마다 좋았더니 내가 자 요.
Yeah, I remember that last week I talked about I say I want to allocate time for question and answer, right? However, I also thought of recap things that we have already learned before, that we already covered. So then after briefly talk about what we have already covered, then it's almost time already. So I promise. So next class I'm going to allocate 100%. I'm going to allocate time for question and answer.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so we stop here.
산지 kumban yudo toda 내가 뭔데비 니치 타다 빠시는 산지 kumban yudo to야 니치 방게 장마 지다 나라바도 고자 때는 맞아 저질러서 서거는 뭐지 두 상마 요소들이 temba는 더 유도데 양식 추면 유도 편이 아주 나지 나시 베든지 계속 한번 쉬어야 이나 이게 장마 진짜.
So we conclude with dedications. We dedicate the roots of virtue that we accumulated, especially through these Dharma discussions. Dharma lessons may be the complete cause for Buddha Dharma to flourish and for all sentient beings to experience excellent happiness. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly His Holiness Dalai Lama. May they live eons long with excellent health conditions, and may their holy wishes and enlightened activities be accomplished instantaneously and spread in all 10 directions. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to the world peace. May excellent happiness prevail in the whole world, and may the world be, may the wars, conflicts, disaster, natural disaster, pandemic be quickly pacified. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to those who pass away and those who suffer. May they quickly be freed from their suffering and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to those who help others, such as doctors, nurses, and those who help others financially. So may their life, may they live long, good health, and may their good wishes be accomplished and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. And especially, we dedicate these roots of virtue to our beloved teacher, Gabriel Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May the holy wishes of Rinpoche be accomplished instantaneously, and may the unmistaken reincarnations of Rinpoche be swiftly returned for the sake of teachings and sentient beings, so that we will have the opportunity to receive the teachings from Rinpoche's life before.
그다음에 와서 취소를 된대와 여봐 취소를 멤버들이 담에 하나 차지 돌아다 들리니 봐 하시는 거래. 이거 저 그가 이 이거 이거 되니 이거 봐. 이게 문제는 간다. 내가 봤냐니 문제는 되게 빅더버 이런데 그렇게 계속 말씀스러워.
We also dedicate these roots of virtue to LTC members, especially those those say who are going to do operations soon, or those who fell sick. Yeah, those who fell sick and those who need to go through operations, and may they quickly regain their health, and may their life be filled with excellent happiness, and continue to practice pure Dharma.
Tabe wadi tendan ruwa kula kambe nang sheba jizun lo san daba ye tembe jimbo rindo se je shu chan chu sen jo rinpo che ma xie pa nang ki kyu ji ke pa nyam pa me ba yang kondo pe wa shu jan pe pa we chi da ken pa nang kondo sambo de yang de jin de da ki je su da lo je ke wa di da dang je rab do nong yin da wa rinpo che ma xie pa nang ki kyu ji ke pa nyam pa me ba yang kondo pe wa shu rin da wa rinpo che ma xie pa nang ki kyu ji me ba yang kondo pe wa shu 因接送都具备了，皮鞋是在钢铁电对跟香那边莫跟进家做了，是我在做现在的路说，看这边的马路吧，刚才就会上北一行路，看这做没跟这家做了，是我在做都些的路说，那边的这些年让做路上给我也是给把这让小心给交流关的呗，等待没法准备给来做，准备做点人目前适当准备自己白话了，那样比顺势被国家建设被建设老毛说话的，因为国际不给为得到马就主话，也对了，许多正把这边工作会喜欢新的一来帮，就像这这些老当天是能给都给老福建路边那边要多少倍做，给啥倍倍给都有些，我说这会是哪里边那天往嘛就因为呢，也是往电线杆对下边是点把土地入去。